Nasrallah Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Hashem, Rafah, Kodash, and honors to the apostles, the elders, the great millstone, peace, blessed, the hopeful elect. I give you an early morning various articles. Really, it's only just two I saw this morning. I thought to bring them forth. Don't know how important they are, but I just I read through a little bit of this one, but I didn't get to the other one yet. But we're gonna grab that second one in a minute. But this first one says Brazilian CBDC could allow government to freeze funds, and audit reveals. All right, so this was what's the day? Let me see. All right, so today is the 12th. So that was yesterday. All right, what's going on, my man? All right, so that was yesterday, Tuesday, July 11th. All right, let me see. Get down here to this article. All right, from Kitco News, it says as opponents to central bank digital currencies, which is CBDC. For those of you that don't know, so when you see word or the letter CBDC, it stands for central bank digital currency. Keyword being digital, and that's all paper going to a digital form of currency. Okay. All right. It says as opponents to central bank digital currencies warned that digital fiat would give governments a greater degree of control over people's lives. A blockchain developer in Brazil who claims to have reverse engineered the source code for the country's pilot CBDC said he discovered functions within the code that would allow a central authority to freeze funds or reduce balances. Says the Central Bank of Brazil posted the source code for the digital Brazilian Real pilot project on Thursday to allow for a public audit, and said the pilot is intended to be used in a test environment, and the presented architecture may be subject to additional changes. All right, you notice there's a lot of talk right now going on about, not saying it's new, but it seems to be heavily talked about right now about the CBDCs, okay, which shows you that Esau is just that much more closer to fulfilling his plan within his lot, okay, which is to push for their RFID microchip, okay, which stands for radio frequency identification, and that gives them full control over everyone's lives in this earth, okay. They would have all control over it because you would be connected to their digital system, which is obviously controlled by them. That need not to be said, okay, but they can shut down your funds, or so many levels of so many things. All right, they're gonna have they're trying to have the knowledge of God, which they would never have. Right, they can only pretend. That's all they're ever gonna do. But continuing on, it says according to Pedro Magalhaes, a blockchain developer and founder of tech consulting firm Laura Labs, he reverse engineered the code with the intention of exploring possible vulnerabilities for purely educational purposes. It says, and discovered some functions within the contract that he thought should be brought to the public's attention. The most concerning functions include a disable account function that disables an account authorized to transfer tokens, an enable account function that enables a previously disabled account for token transfers, the ability to increase or decrease the frozen balance of a wallet address, the ability to pause token transfers for a specific wallet, and the ability to transfer tokens from one wallet to another and burn them. Wow. It says the main concern with these functions is that they can be executed by any entity that receives authorization from the BC, which means a centralized entity will be able to control and manipulate the tokens held by private citizens. According to a report from Portal do Bitcoin, the BC has confirmed that the source code contains these functions, saying BC and institutions already have similar functionalities in the current environment of systems such as SPB and PIX, their use being governed by law and regulation. While there is a precedent for such functions in current payment systems, Magalhaes said that the issue with the code for the digital real is that it lacks specificity about the circumstances under which the tokens can be frozen and who holds the power to execute them. One thing is to agree with an operation and execute a devised operation that involves different blockchains. Magalhaes said in an interview with Cointelegraph. Another completely different thing is an institution having the ability to freeze the balance on its initiative, and that's precisely how they've developed the smart contracts. These aspects should always be exposed in the smart contracts publicly and discussed with the population, which hasn't been done yet. It just brings to my attention that they're seeming to have this universal problem of security or whatever. But what do you expect when things are digital? Okay, there's going to be a security problem because just like you have computers now, you also have what on the flip side you have hackers. All right, and hackers do what? They hack into people's accounts, social numbers, and all these types of things. Okay, and so this seems to be a major issue with these digital banks that they're trying to push forward with as for now, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna cover it, right? They're gonna cover all things, all right. But for now, it's just that seems to be a major thing with these digital currency systems. They're running into these smaller stumbling blocks for them. But it's prophesied that they will achieve this goal. So regardless of what they stumble upon, eventually everything is going to run smooth, and they're going to push forward the central banks fully, and they're gonna most definitely push forward their RFID microchip. And you see those things in the works. Just pay attention to what's going on now. In the articles, it's been talked about now. You're hearing it from the horse's mouth. So which is nothing new. You're just hearing it more so straightforward. We'll say you hear it more straightforward. All right. So just you gotta pay attention to these things. There's more in this article, but I'm not gonna read into it. I'll get that title for you again though. It says a Brazilian CBDC could allow government to freeze funds, and audit reveals. All right, and this is what it's all about: control. Not saying that the government is going to have control, because they're all going to answer to this to the banking family. So, though it may say the Brazilian government, it's going to go further and steeper than just the Brazilian government. So that's just one we'll say one level or one aspect to it. All right, so. We'll close this one out. I'm going to grab my other article so we can get going. All right, this one is from the Daily Hold. It says Bank for International Settlements say DeFi to act as starting point for CBDC security systems. All right, see what we just talked about, security. They're having major security issues, and they're trying to figure them out right now. They're not exactly speaking about it straightforward, but they are working out those kinks because like I've said before, it needs to run smoothly, and it is going to run smoothly. All the ones across the globe, all right, that is set up. They're all going to be working in unison with one another, right? And they're going to run smoothly because that's just part of them achieving that particular goal. So let's see what this article says. It says the Bank for International Settlements says that decentralized finance could help write the blueprints for the security of future central bank digital currencies. It says in a new report, the BIS says that CBDCs are now being built using the same technology that powers DeFi to detect what could possibly go wrong for a CBDC system. You see, that's case in point right there. Working out those kinks. It says at the end of 2022, there were 3 launched CBDC implementations around the world, along with several other pilots at varying degrees of size and scale underway, with no known attacks reported thus far. It says additionally, since CBDCs are relatively new compared with other payment systems, there is very little historical data to predict threats. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to say threats to specific, or actually no, I see it says there is very little historical data to predict threats specific to CBDCs. All right, it says while DeFi is not a synonym for CBDCs, several of the current operational retail CBDC implementations are based on similar technology. Stack or make use of one or more of DLT, which stands for distributed ledger technology. It says smart contracts, tokens, digital identities, and immutable data. This allows DeFi to serve as a starting point for this analysis of CBDC, although more tailored framework may need to be developed in the future as the space matures. It says the BIS says that central banks will have to play a seminal role in protecting CBDCs from attacks or exploits. All right, it says it is imperative for central banks to take action to prevent and mitigate these adversarial attacks. Aside from establishing the presence of gaps, this analysis has also highlighted the general cybersecurity standards are still applicable to CBDCs and DeFi systems, and central banks should adhere to these standards to safeguard their systems against commonly recognized attack types. Given CBDC implementation may use novel or more traditional technology, or more likely a mixture of both, it is important to draw on examples from a variety of contexts to create the best defense against potential threats. A well-mapped catalog of threats is key if CBDC implementations are to adequately address and mitigate cyber attacks. All right, and there you go. That was case in point, hackers. And they could be hinting at a rival nation or whatever. Hacking into the system, whatever the case may be. Let me see. I'm just looking at these other ones. No, it's nothing new. Ripple making waves on cross-border payments. I think we read into that before. We might call it quits there. I almost want to look into this one real quick though, because I've seen that one, but I haven't seen this one. Let's just tap this real quick. There's Bank of America says Ripple making waves in cross-border payments with blockchain. Okay, so just want to see if I can point out anything dealing with the cross-border payments. Okay, that was a short article. The banking giant also says that APAC is one of the main regions blazing a trail in financial technology, is likely on a path toward abandoning physical cash. Yeah, we know that by presenting every digital option from consumer payments via QR codes on mobile devices to real-time corporate treasury and wholesale settlements to central bank digital currencies and crypto. APAC, it's heralding new opportunities for all stakeholders to finally abandon hard cash. Yeah, that's what they're moving to. That's what the talk is about, man. Right? If you don't know about that, you've been under a rock. All right, he's trying to break that boulder and get from under that rock. Let me see. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that, man. Just a few articles, few articles for the morning. Lord willing, you edify to next time. Y'all good. Say shalom.